Aatrox, the Darkened Blade. A long time ago, we're talking thousands of years ago, when Shurima was a big old empire, there was a guy. I can't remember what his real name was, but you know him as Aatrox. He got the way he is because of some ascension ritual, which involved a sun disk and a dash of some ancient religious belief. Nowadays, we know Aatrox as a red and black, angry-looking, pointy demon fella. Wasn't always that way. He used to be a nice guy, one of the good ones. He was shiny, friendly, and one hell of a noble warrior. So, when his ascended queen, Sataka was her name, asked Aatrox to help against a void-aided rebellion happening down in Acathia, he was too noble, shiny, and friendly to say no. If there's one thing you shouldn't mess with, it's the void. And those Acathian rebels that opened up those portals, well, they lost control just about the instant they let them into our world. Took a little bit of time for Aatrox and co to stop the void, and after a few years, they finally closed most of the gateways to our realm. Those ascended that survived this big old battle called themselves the Sunborn. But despite the dandy name, all those years of conflict changed him, especially Aatrox. Then, the final nail in the coffin came. That glittering empire of Shurima crumbled to dust. Now, that didn't bode too well for Aatrox and those Sunborn. Started fighting amongst themselves. They no longer had a queen to tell them to play nice, or the void to fight against, so turning against each other was what they had. We call them Darkened now. Nothing sunny about them. Here is where the Targonians stepped up. They realized that this was a bad situation, so Zoe, the aspect of Twilight, taught us normal folk how to trap Darken, and Pantheon, the aspect of War, helped us fight him back. Aatrox figured we didn't have a chance against him and his armies. It was too late when he realized we did. Through that magic we learned, we sealed him in his trusty sword. And old Aatrox was imprisoned in there for centuries. And here we were, thinking we were done with him. Until someone just had to try and use the sword. And bam! Aatrox took over his body. Made him look like his original form, or at least tried to. Turns out, our mortal flesh doesn't quite make the cut. It's just a little bit too weak for him. Aatrox's silver lining, however, was that he was freed from the inside of his sword, and so he started taking over all sorts of unwilling mortals, always looking for the strongest ones. And what do you know? It was never enough. Try as he might, he could never get back to his true ascended form. Sure, his prison was a little bit bigger, but it became pretty apparent he'd never get back to his former glory. He couldn't destroy the blade, 'cause the blade was him, so he'd never be free again. Well, at least not completely. In the modern day, he aims to bring destruction to the world. He figures if he can get everyone in one momentous final battle, then everything will end up destroyed. And maybe that'll spell the end of him too.